where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Brian and Joey.
Good morning,
Mr. Deering.
I woke up this morning, and it was a great morning, actually. I got up nice and early, did my morning rituals, and I was feeling very mentally strong this morning, which is not always the case. And so I walked out to the kitchen, and I remember my wife was awake last night when I got home, but only because she got up to use the restroom, so she was like in that in-between stage. And I was like, "How was your night, babe?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't get to the dishes." And I was like, "Yeah, but how was your night?" And she's like, "Oh, it was good. The kids were wonderful." And then she kind of passed out. And so when I went to leave the house, I remembered her saying that, and I saw the pile of dishes there, and I was like,
You did them, didn't you?
huh. I could be a hero if I wanted to be a hero. So here's what I did. I went to the couch. I sat down. I opened up the Audible app because I was done with the book that I just finished, so I needed a new one. And I found the book I'm going to read next, and I got it ready. And then I put my headphones in, and I was doing the dishes, and I was trying to get done and sneak out. I like to do that, but I got caught, which is fun too.
I guess it's a win-win either way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So so today we're going to be talking about creativity in acting, which connects back to what we were talking about last night and in our acting classes, because we've been doing a lot of this how to add creativity into your acting and really into your life, into different conversations, into your sales presentations and job interviews and things like that. I mean, there's a way that you can connect into some of the improv principles that we teach, and if you can connect them to script, you can use those principles in your movie acting, TV acting, commercial acting, and it can be huge for you. Because if you think about, like, what do you think about when you think about creativity? Like, what comes to mind? Art, okay. So what makes something art then?
I don't know. I just think of like a canvas.
I think of...
Okay, you think of a canvas is a blank.
Yeah.
So you just think of canvas?
Yeah, but like being painted or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like just, I don't know, blank.
Blank canvas, but then, okay.
Yeah, being worked on.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's creativity or, yeah.
Is all painting creativity?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I'd say so.
Could be.
So the first thing that comes to my mind is just different. So my mind's going straight to acting, but we've been dealing a lot with commercial acting and the audition room. And so when I think of creativity, and probably because it's fresh on my mind, I see a choice or something that is just different or unique.
Okay, I love that idea too. So if we combine these two, this idea of like the different, unique, and then the idea of painting or creating some kind of an art, right? So I would say probably you're right. Like, I'd have a hard time arguing it, other than knowing that sometimes being different is not necessarily good if you're doing it just for the sake of being different and you don't have anything to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I've got a canvas and I just sort of, haphazardly splash some paint on there, and then I, put a big blue stripe across it, and I'm like, that was me being creative. I mean, technically, yeah, it's creativity. Technically, it's art. But there could be potentially some laziness there too. There could be some stuff where it's like lack of skill. So then, like, I think there's this idea of, how do I take the skill and build on the skill and find a way to be creative off of something that's going to be of benefit.
Sure.
So I think it goes like, if I know how to paint, if I could paint something to perfection, like all the different angles and everything, and I could get all the dimensions perfect, and then I purposefully do something that adds a splash of creativity to it, that's to me like the next level professional creative that is then worth something. So if I could paint, let's say, a person, and I can paint them perfectly, and I do that, and I paint all the dimensions, and then what's something creative you put in the background that you would, like an alien, or you know what I mean, like something very interesting that's like, okay, that's gonna make me think. You know, there's like a building in the back that's like falling over, and I'm like, there's an earthquake, and I don't know, and your brain starts going to these different places, and so you're now causing the audience to think and go, wow, like why'd they do that? How'd they get from there to there? You know, so you're I guess you're creating a curiosity, a positive, healthy curiosity when you're acting creatively to benefit yourself.
Got it.
And I think that idea of being different, you can get stuck in this idea of like, oh, I'll just be different. I'll just do something different.
Yeah.
And it could be so off, and you could be not good at it.
Sure. So you say like it's something that is different but still fits the reality and is truthful.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm using that same drawing. Could be background. Could it be even something like, let's say I was drawing you or whatever, like making a small creative choice with your physicality that may get you to question it or see something. So like maybe Rosalind's drawing you or whatever, and she does something where she puts you in a Superman shirt. Or something, then which gets you to think, why'd you do that? You know, I'm not wearing a Superman shirt. Like, was it because you see me as a super dad? Or like, what are those kind of things? So sticking within the framework of truthful reality, but then adding a little creative splash is kind of where you're going with that.
And truthfully, my daughter is a great artist. And
she's a phenomenal artist.
And she's 6. And she's actually a professional artist because she's already taken money for her drawings.
Hey.
Daddy has bought them. I've got quite a few Rosalind originals that I've paid for.
Very nice. I would pay for one as
She
well.
She even sold a few at her school to some of her friends. Bought a few of her paintings.
At one of the that homeschool event thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
So she's got some art out there, you know, as a pro. But truthfully, right now, no one's gonna pay Rosalind thousands and thousands of dollars to do a painting, right?
Right.
And so she is being creative, and she's finding her sort of artistic voice, but I wouldn't say that she's got the talent and skill set yet to create something and then be creative off of it in such a way that people are so mesmerized by it, like that they have to buy it, they have to pay for it, that she's become worth a ton of money as an artist yet.
Right.
Right? And I think that's the thing where we understand as actors, we want to start doing what Rosalind's doing. I mean, she's day in and day out painting, drawing, working on that craft. She is doing creative things all the time. Like she'll find a way to, like the other day, this is so cool. She did this drawing here at the studio. She came in with me in the morning, and she knows that Daddy prefers it when she takes her time. Because if I don't tell her that, she'll go through like 30 pieces of paper, and she'll just be like, drawing, psh, drawing, psh. And so I'm like, take your time, you know, take one piece of paper.
Let's save the trees.
Spend an hour on it. And so she did. She really took her time, and she drew this like beautiful little girl with her dad and like this whole thing. And then she had emotion, and like there was all these things going on in it, and there was wind, and she really created this thing. Well, she's at the skill set now where she had clouds in the sky. And she's like, Dad, look at the clouds. And I was like, oh, they're good. And she goes, no, look closer. And I'm like, what? Every single cloud was a different like hidden image, because we play the game where we look up at the clouds and we're like, oh, like that reminds me of a dog, and that reminds me of a whatever. So she kind of like barely hinted at.
Shut up.
It was amazing, and when you look closer at it, you're like, oh my gosh, like that figure is definitely in the clouds, and you did that, and wow, that's creative.
Yeah.
You know, that's creativity, and that's high level creativity for where she is as an artist.
Yeah.
And that's to be recognized too.
Sure.
You know.
So speaking on that, there's also let's bring it back to acting and I can use Rosalind actually as an example, and a few of the other kids. So we're doing commercial work, and they've all had this commercial that they're working on, and they wrote it, and it's based on something they care about. And so, like, for example, she had hers on a donut place. So it was on Dunkin' Donuts, right?
No wonder she brought donuts in.
Yeah, so they had the ability to bring props and do whatever they like. And so she brought in a donut with a plate, and she was so psyched to do her commercial. Because obviously she loves donuts, right?
Yeah, love
So her pink sprinkle, like she had that. Well, they also brought some for the class, which I thought was super cool. But it was so fun, not just specifically her, but all of them, to watch the ones who brought their stuff see it come to life. There was a teenager who was doing one for QT, and she was listing off a couple of different items. And so she brought in like a QT cup. She brought in like a bag of chips, a gummy. We got to watch them all eat it. Joey got to snack down on Takis because one of the kids brought a whole bag of just like 15 bags of Takis.
What's a talkie?
It's like a
Oh man, you're not living until you had a Taki.
What is it though? I don't
You're
know.
gonna have your first Taki live on the show.
and what is it
I'll
though?
be back.
But what
It's
is
a-
it?
It's a corn chip that's super hot.
Is it gonna be spicy?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's quite
gonna be
spicy.
great.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
quite spicy.
dude. Okay, go ahead. Finish what you were saying because I have a funny story about spicy.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, the point there is like it was the subtlety of bringing just the prop itself, and it looked a little different for everybody. But even just watching someone get to use that, bring their small piece of creativity, the prop, entering in, just honestly brought life into the room.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this a little bit with Joe Flowers when he was here, and he had mentioned this idea of like what he thought was creative, and I was mentioning to him, and then he agreed the idea of, well, actually, let's make sure that we're specific here in saying it needs to be your creativity.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you can be inspired by other people, but if somebody brings in a prop and then you just like borrow their exact prop, you haven't spent time with it. You haven't made it your own. Like, it's not your choice. It's somebody else's choice that you're borrowing.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like hacking your way through it.
Totally. So I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then you may be good there. Like, you might give a good performance or something, but at the same time, it won't be as good as it could have been. And probably the person who came up with it and spent time on it will do better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just going to use another food example because food. But I mean, she picks a pink donut, right? Which is fine for me, but I'm not like going into Bosa and going like, hey, give me that pink donut.
I used to order the pink donut every time.
And that's what I was going to say. You do. And Joey gets the breadcrumb. And
Yeah, right.
Well, I alternate.
He alternates.
He's
right?
mixing it. It's dangerous, by the way, to be working near a Bosa donut.
It really is.
It
really
really
is.
is.
Walking distance. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your point?
So each of us have a different one that we like. Each of us have one that's like that resonates with us that we enjoy. And if I just grab your pink donut, her pink donut, I'm not gonna care about it the way you will. I'm not gonna have the same emotional connection to it, which is weird. But like,
Dude,
I'll
I'm
take a bite
straight
out
up
of it,
like kind of disappointed or angry. I mean, angry is harsh, but like, have you ever had someone bring like a box of donuts
yeah,
and you're like, oh, cool, and then you open it up and you're
Yes.
like, why
did you choose those ones?
You ever had that experience? You're
Yes.
like, you're like,
100%.
come on, man.
That happens to me all the time.
And like, at least if you're gonna get a dozen for a random group, like at least do 6 that are glazed, just plain glazed, just in case you didn't pick the right ones, because everyone,
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like a plain
That's
glazed,
fair.
right?
right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, if in worst case scenario, if I pick the wrong ones, the plain glazed, yeah, but you know, you've had the experience.
yeah,
Oh,
a billion
Joey
times
has very
over again.
deeply emotionally had this experience.
Yeah,
I
well,
can
Yeah,
see.
well, because I like raspberry-filled donuts and freaking.
well, and that's rare. It's gonna be
breadcrumb
rare that someone's gonna put a raspberry
That's
filled
what
in
I'm
there.
saying.
You know
So,
why? Because I
like-
like raspberry filled too.
Yeah,
But I would never get like 3 or 4 raspberry filled in a dozen because I think a lot of people don't like those.
yeah.
It's
I
an
don't-
acquired
I don't-
acquired
I
taste.
don't know why.
I don't like
So-
it.
I don't know why either, but it's an acquired taste.
Don't like 'em.
So I would never buy that for a group, and I would never get just one and then set it down because then I'll be angry at the person that ate my donut.
But time out. Brian says he doesn't like them, but that's not even fair. Brian doesn't like jelly in general.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of
Yeah.
people are that way,
Ah.
and a lot of people don't like the texture of it. Like whatever, like they don't understand. Sugar on top of sugar is like good.
It's really good.
It's next level bad for you is what it is. They got creative with their donuts.
Hey,
See what they did there?
back
All
to
right.
the point. See how we did that?
So, so putting creativity in your acting, and how do we connect this? What we did in class was I did this top 10 exercise, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is to take what someone might consider to be a very basic exercise and dive super deep into it. And so we did that, and we took this simple exercise, and we did it 3, 4, 5 times and dug in and found all the juice that you could find out of creating a top 10 of something. And what we discovered was the best way to be creative or to launch yourself into creativity was to be personal, which sort of comes back to your idea of the different donuts, I guess, like that kind of idea. But I look at it this way. I'm going, okay, what's the most valuable thing we have in the world?
Time.
Time, 100%. Time is the most valuable thing. So I look at when someone comes in to audition for us as a casting director, you'll hear me every time, and if I haven't done this, I apologize, but
Every time.
every time I say, thank you. Thank you so much for auditioning. We really appreciate you coming in, because I really do. I mean, I appreciate your time. However much time you sat in the lobby, hopefully not long, and all the time you spent preparing for the role and coming in, and like, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And if actors were smart, they would realize that the same debt of gratitude would be nice in the other direction, because you think about, we spent time to prepare for them. We spent time to send things over. And they could spend time to lessen the amount of time we have in the room with each person by doing their prep work.
Yeah.
So then I think, all right, let's take this idea of like, what am I doing when I come in to audition? Well, I'm selling myself. So I'm kind of a salesperson. So if I think about just sales in general, how do I win a sales interaction? And part of it is being like allowing yourself to be vulnerable and give up something. So I'm like, what can I give you back? So I'm taking your time. That's what if I'm coming in to sell you, I am taking 15 minutes you'll never get back. I'm taking it.
Yep.
So what can I give back? And I think the best thing you can give back is something personal, a personal story, a vulnerability, like let's strike up a relationship of some kind. Okay? So if we get to that place where it's like, all right, I'm trying to give back to you. I'm trying to find a way to give back, and I go personal. I've connected who I am into the audition, into the sales presentation. And when you ask me a question, I'm uniquely interested and completely present, and I'm willing to give a piece of me. If you do that, you are then being creative in such a way that nobody else can be creative because it came from you. Okay? So let me go here to Brian. Do you have a specific memory that connects to a baseball field?
Yes.
Just
Go ahead.
find
What's
it
her
in-
name? What came to mind?
So it went to when I was a little kid, and my dad would take me to the Diamondback games.
Okay.
So-
but what's a memory? Like one?
There's one specific memory.
Wait, is there one or no?
Yes, there's one specific
What happened?
memory.
Was it why is it memorable?
Because he got me a glove for it.
He bought you a glove beforehand?
Yes. to
Where
go
did
to
you
the game
go?
With. Honestly, I don't remember where he went to get the glove. I just remember, like, the specifics of getting the glove itself, and him telling me that we're bringing this to the game because you may be able to catch a ball.
Got it.
And like
So
explaining.
so
what
what's
that was.
interesting is your then now personal story, okay, involving a glove. I could say top 10 things you'd find at a baseball field. And if you said glove, I might not lean forward as an audience member
Yeah.
because that's kind of expected. And if you don't throw me something I don't expect, I'm not going to lean forward. You did what everybody else did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But off of glove and your personal story now, we can go someplace else, and then we can find creativity, stay on creativity. So when I think of glove, then I go to snow. Now it's a different kind of glove,
Yeah.
but we started with the baseball glove. So we're like glove, snow. snowman, snowball fight. And you're picturing a baseball field, and you're going like, what? That's it. Could that happen? Yeah, of course. Like that could be.
100%.
That's interesting. And now it's this baseball field that came through your imagination. Now in this case, our imagination, but it came through our imagination based off of a personal story that was uniquely yours.
Yeah.
And we did this in another workshop, and the woman said for baseball field said wedding dress, and everyone went, huh? And they leaned in like, oh, that's an interesting concept, a wedding dress at a baseball field, and went down this whole path. And it turns out she had been to a wedding one time at a baseball field. So it's possible. But even if she hadn't, even if the baseball field just reminded her of her husband and she thought wedding, that's what came to mind. She could say wedding dress, and then she can paint this picture of something that's uniquely through her lens and personal and connected. And if she gets herself to this place of being comfortable in the uncomfortable, she literally doesn't know what she's going to say next. And it's that thinking moment that is the most interesting for an audience to watch. Is like, I don't know what's going to, I don't know what's going to happen next, because I can tell you don't know what's going to happen next.
Totally.
And that's interesting to me as an audience member, right? And so the trap here is to go glove, snow, snowman,
Ice.
baseball.
Oh.
Yeah. I was blown away when you told me this the other day.
How did it feel when I went to back to baseball? It's a backwards move.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wait, you were being creative. What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And we do that because we get nervous, and we lean into this idea, and people start reacting or laughing or whatever, and we stop listening to the room. We stop relaxing into what's working, and we don't even recognize that something's working.
Yeah.
And then we go back to what's safe.
Yep.
And then we lose our creativity and we lose the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I was blown away when you told me this the other day, because I realized that how many times I've seen people do it in this exercise, right? How many times that's happened. And it is exactly that. It's like you're going and you just feel nervous, you feel whatever. And so you just go safe. You go like, let me go back to that thing that we started with, instead of continuing to explore, continuing to see what else is out there. And that's how you get from snowman to some other totally different idea, because you're willing to go once again away. And you did that to me through, I can't remember what got us there, but we were talking about Astro Camp. Like you talked about space, and then I went to Astro Camp, and this was through another exercise, the extemporaneous speech. But then it led me to, instead, you had me go into a real camp story that was, and Astro Camp was real, but it was too close to what we were saying.
And you were only talking about Astro Camp because I said space.
Yes.
Not because you wanted to talk about Astro Camp.
Right.
And then you're gonna have to fight for that memory.
Yeah.
Versus any other camp, and then realizing how easy it is to come back to the topic was pretty easy.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to talk when you're talking about something personal, as long as you're willing to share it.
Yes.
And be honest. It's the second you stop being honest that it's not interesting.
Absolutely.
I got one more great example of this same idea. So something was thrown at a guy on purpose, because I started saying for that exercise, let's give a topic that we don't know anything about. And so one of the girls is like, for this guy that they just knew wouldn't know about it, they're like, makeup. And makeup, he didn't know about makeup. And so he didn't. And then he gives a top 10. Or no, he gives a speech, a 1-minute speech about makeup. And it was decent. But it was clear to anyone who knows makeup that he didn't know what he was talking about. And that it was only funny because he was grasping at straws. So then I was like, all right, let's get away from makeup. What does it make you think of? And he started going to like magazine, model. And I'm like, no, like personal, And he's like, one time when we were doing a shoot and I was getting makeup put on, and I'm like, no, it's like that's not really personal. That's you just wanting to kind of show off that you've been on camera. That's different. And so finally we get to his daughter. Little 6-year-old daughter. And he tells this story about her and a grape dropped on the ground, and she ate the grape. And then she got terrified she was going to die or something like that. It was like a really funny story. But he painted his daughter with these big eyes, and he just described her in such a way that we're all leaning in. Like, we can't wait to hear what he's got to say. And then when we decided it was time to tie back to makeup, it's so easy to connect that he's like, and then I could just look in her eyes and realize she's going to grow up one day. And I'm going to have to buy her some makeup. It's like easy to get to that connection, right? But the story that he told that was personal, that actually mattered to him, drew us in. And if you're selling to somebody, or you're delivering a product, and you're supposed to be the dad, or you're supposed to, if you're going to sell whoever, and they've got a family, and you go into that story that's personal, it's yours, like, you're going to draw that person in, you know? And who can't relate to a father-child relationship? I mean, we all can.
Yeah.
All of us, it's that easy.
Absolutely.
So
cool.
Yeah, so building on this concept, how to be creative in your acting. So the first and foremost is to give a piece of yourself. To be personal, give up a piece of you. And then when you find game, when you find the weird, when you find the thing that sort of like makes everybody lean forward, fight to stay in that place, to relax and build on it rather than allowing yourself to go backwards. So this is like when you're doing your acting in the moment, pressure's on, auditioning, whatever, like that's how you add it there. If you want to add creativity in your acting in general, the other thing you can do is add some creative endeavors. So doing something like hiking. And I mean, I know you do this recently, Brian, or you were anyway, until you started slacking off.
Slacking.
You were getting up, and you were looking at the sunrise.
Yeah.
And you'd climb up the mountain, and you'd pay attention to it, and you'd spend time with nature for a second. That's going to drive you into your creative self.
Yeah.
That is going to help you be a more creative teacher, help you be a more creative brother and cousin and actor. And that will help you with your writing and help you with other endeavors through acting, that thing. Speaking of writing, writing's another great artistic endeavor you can take on to start creating little short stories, creating these different ideas. It's gonna fuel your creativity, and then that will flow out, come out your acting. Another thing is art, like Joey had said earlier. Just creating art, picking up a paintbrush, failing at it, but having fun with trying your best to do something well and then add some kind of creative twist to it. And, even if it's not perfect, go ahead and put the little shapes in the clouds, and just have fun with that. I know for a minute I was doing this because my daughter loves art so much. I was spending about 20, 30 minutes of my morning time teaching myself to draw. I don't know if do you guys know I was doing that?
I had no idea.
That was a little secret. It's a little secret. But I learned some things. Like I learned how to draw an eyeball, which is really hard. I learned how to draw a nose. Like some of the things that are most difficult, I started the process of learning how to draw a hand. So I was kind of going at it from the technical perspective and like what's the hardest to draw so that I could impart some knowledge for my daughter is what I was thinking. I was like, I'll go after the things that's hard and then maybe I'll be able to teach her something, But that creative endeavor helped me with my writing and then helped me with my acting and helped me with my teaching because I'm doing something creative that's activating another part of my brain and I don't even realize what I'm doing, but then boom, then when you want to tap into creativity, it becomes much easier. Sure. So in life, you can add creativity purposefully in various ways. There's tons of ways. I only just mentioned a few. And then that will fuel into your acting. Just don't forget to use it in your acting.
Yeah, totally.
All right, good. So what do you guys got left here? We're gonna wrap up here in a minute. You guys, are we awake finally?
I was honestly super tired when I first got up, but then I was able to just energize by doing the MAP method, by just going the
MAP method for wake
3,
up
2, 1.
energizing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously slept in, and so the way that I've learned to do it was through what you do, because in the morning show before, and there were plenty of sleep-in times, it would be an extreme challenge for me to get to that spot. And so now I just hear you going, woo, in my brain. And then I found ways to sort of do that. So Joey asked me earlier, why are you running? I was like, for energy, like to get that going. And then I got here, I was like literally like out of breath to find that.
Yeah.
And so actually was honestly super energized for the show this morning, not because of the choice I made this morning.
I noticed that in your eyes, actually. I noticed there was a burst of energy, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And again, like for your morning, you can be creative with your own morning. Be creative with how you deal with failure. Like you saw on the Instagram recently, I or you guys put it for me, the video of the kids pouring water on my head.
Yeah.
You know, and that was me tired. That was me 3-2-1-ing, and I had a responsibility to my kids, and they know this. Does Daddy do what he says he's gonna do? Yes, he does. Mm-hmm. So I had said I was gonna do something, and unless something extravagant comes up, I'm gonna do it, right? And so, yeah, I mean, for me, it was like cold water. This could be fun. Like it can turn into a creativity, fun moment. Like this can now be a memory that's going to be that the kids are going to remember for positive, that they can use to motivate themselves for their whole lives. Mm-hmm. Or it can be the time Dad went back to bed.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's a memory too.
100%.
And that's one I don't really want to burn in their minds that much. That at least not that often.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn that memory that I said I was going to do something, and then I came home too tired and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when you do that enough times, then that loses your trust.
Exactly.
Right, in that way.
Exactly.
I loved watching that video.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll go back just to watch it. And for you, but also specifically to watch the kids' reactions.
I know. It's so
to
funny.
watch how much fun they're having getting to dump the water on your head.
And Rozzy goes through these different phases where everything is the same or whatever, right? So right now, like because of the show, everything's a podcast. So like as soon as Jack finished dumping on my head, she's like, well, and that was our podcast on Jack dumping water on Daddy's head. And now, and she wants to start the next podcast, which is her dumping water on my head.
It's awesome.
So funny. Yeah, so and you know, that could be its own episode. It needs to be its own episode, obviously, but we can wrap it up here with this idea of adding the creativity into even your habits and your routines. So I did have this realization. I love to do this where I go back and I'm like, let's say, okay, so you two slept in today. Cool. Well, I slept in yesterday. I like to ask myself why. I mean, you remember I did this as soon as the show ended. I was like, boom, well, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to reveal me, and then I'm going to deal with the facts, and then we're going to get through it. Boom. And then it was great, and I felt good. But I did want to ask myself, what's my why here? Like, what's going on? So this morning, I realized I popped out of bed, and I feel good, and I did good things. And the more you serve, the more you feel good. But why did I serve? I didn't serve the day before. Why did I serve today? Like, I want to know why. What happened? Mm-hmm. And I realized that I did my affirmations, and I haven't been doing them, and I did them. I did my affirmations this morning. And then I actually had this realization before I even knew we were going to speak on creativity today. I thought to myself, dude, you got too comfortable. You're too comfortable with your affirmations. You're too comfortable with your habit. You got to shake some things up. You got to do something that's going to activate your mind. And so I thought to myself, I got to rewrite my affirmations in such a way that I no longer know them as well as I did. And now I'm putting some new twists on there, some new ideas that are going to excite me to learn the new thing and to activate the new thing in my brain. Because a lot of the things that I've wanted have come true. A lot of the affirmations I've talked about they're coming true, and I'm going, okay, that's great. And now I'm going, well, I don't want to be safe. I don't want to go back to safety. I want to keep pushing myself into that uncomfortable world.
Sure.
And living in this place that I know is going to be positive. And so the things will always be the same. I'm going to start with God, family, you guys, you know, and business is going to be boom, 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 that order. And then I get into, you know, me and personal and wealth and all that other stuff. But that first 4 or 5 are going to be the same always. But the way I deliver the information to my head can be and should be creatively new every now and then and refreshed. And so like maybe a cold shower for me doesn't do it anymore. Maybe it's not enough to excite me. Because I first did it, and then I felt like, wow, I'm powerful because I can do this. I can overcome this thing.
Yeah.
And then it became a habit and a ritual, and then every now and then I go back to hot, and it's like, okay, fine. But it was like, it didn't excite me anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So now I got to find the next thing. Like, what is it going to be? Maybe I take a hot shower, and I got a glass of cold water next to the shower, and I dump that on my head. And that honestly, weirdly, that sounds fun to me. It sounds like that thing that you had this morning where it's like 3, 2, 1. I'm going to make this choice. And it's like, this is the new fun, weird thing that I get to do in the morning that's uniquely mine.
Yeah.
Like drawing an eyeball. You guys never knew I did it. And I was doing it for weeks and weeks and weeks. I was drawing eyeballs, and I got pretty good at it.
It's wild to me.
It's weird, but I was like, it was a thing that I was like, okay, it was exciting for me to wake up. It was exciting for me to do something, right? And so, so going back to this, like we're going to wrap up the whole show here with this idea of be creative in your acting. How to be creative in your acting? Well, first of all, add it to your life. And second of all, don't be afraid to bring who you are, the personal you, into the audition room, into the piece that you're working on. And of course, the only way to do that is to be crazy prepared, to know your stuff, and to be a professional. If you don't know first how to draw, it's hard to add creativity to the drawing. All right, cool. Joey, you gonna make me eat some chips? Is this what's going on?
I got
So what is this called here?
Talkies.
Talkie.
Also, when we get to the close, I'd love to throw down your 5. I wrote down all the 5.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, go ahead. Why don't you throw down the 5 while I eat a talkie?
Oh, you eat a talkie.
Because I'm going to actually pull the volume down so people don't have to listen to me chew.
Cool.
You should
All
probably pull mine down too, because I'm gonna eat it with you.
That's mine.
There you go. Wait, hold on. Hello. Are you on, Brian? No, that's me.
And I'm on now. Hey, there I am. Enjoy your talkies, boys. The first one that Matt threw out there was give a piece of yourself. So when you're being creative, find something in you. Oh man, I really should just be watching Matt's reaction. This is great. Just the voiceover of this. Number 2, when you find your creativity, fight for it. Fight for it. Number 3, seek out a creative endeavor, whether that's nature, art, whatever. Find a way to be creative. Number 4, use the creative. So once you are now finding ways to be creative, go find a way to apply that and use that creativity. And then the last one is now using that creativity and adding it to your daily routine so that you ensure it becomes a part of your day always. Top 5.
Oh my
ways
gosh.
to be creative.
Talkies. Oh.
Yeah,
This is called fuego, I guess. It's like hot and sour all day, like went right to my nose. It felt like at the Chinese restaurant when you eat the hot mustard and just went like, oh. Wow, this has been a fuego episode right here. Let me tell you. This has been Mornings with Matt, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We sure appreciate you watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe. It's so important you subscribe. Please subscribe and share this channel. Help us to spread this light-driven content to the planet.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.
Have a chippy day, everyone.